All right, let's get started. Our intercept should be the easiest things to find for this guy. Let's do our y-intercept first. For our y-intercept, we take the function, we plug in 0, so we get 2 times 0 minus 1 over 0. We get negative 1 divided by 0, which can't happen. No, so there's no y-intercepts. Let's check for our x-intercepts. Most of these you could probably do in your head. You don't have to write all this stuff out. To do that, we set the whole thing equal to 0, so we have 2x minus 1 over x. But remember earlier I said it's just pretty much basically like setting the numerator equal to 0 because your denominator will go away anyways. And if I solve this, I get 1 equals 2x, and then I get x equals 1 over 2, so it's 1/2. All right, so we got an x-intercept. Now let's look at our asymptotes. That's number 2, the second most important thing we got going on here. I suppose I should write asympt. Okay, make sure you get that T in there. Okay, so let's do our vertical asymptotes. To do our vertical asymptotes, you take the denominator, set it equal to 0. Yay, no work to do there. Next, let's do our horizontal asymptotes. To do our horizontal asymptotes, what is y equal? We have to look at the degree of the numerator and the degree of the denominator. The degree of the numerator is 0. I'm sorry, it's 1 because the biggest exponent is 1. The denominator has a degree of 1. So since they're equal, we're going to take the leading coefficient and the leading coefficient at the bottom and divide them. So we have 2 divided by 1, which is just 2. So there is our horizontal asymptote. It is at 2. All right, the next thing we had to do is, number 3, find extra points. But let's see if we even need the extra points. Let's graph what we got so far. Bang, shebang. Okay, first we got our x-intercept. We have an x-intercept at 1/2. So I'm going to put 1, 2. Let's put a dot right there. Next, we have no y-intercept. We do have a vertical asymptote at x equals 0. Hey, there's a culprit. That's why we don't have a y-intercept. And then we have the horizontal asymptote at 2. So we're going to go at 2. So 1, 2. And we're going to put our horizontal asymptote right there. Shebang-a-dang-a-dang-a-dang. And then we're going to draw our stuff. Now, because I already have a point right there, I pretty much know that, boom, we're going to have a curve right there on that side. We're not going to have a curve up here because normally it's only, in order for it to be a function, it's only going to be right here on the bottom of the asymptote, or it's going to be above the asymptote, because if we had two curves right here, it hit twice, it wouldn't be a function. Anyways, let's take a look at this really fast. If we plugged in negative x to this, would we get symmetry here? If I plug in negative x here, that would be negative 2, and that would be an x, and then minus 1, and that would be a negative down there. And then I would divide the top and the bottom by a negative 1 because I would simplify. Let's see what we would get. I'm just curious if we get any symmetry here, because symmetry kind of helps me decide what points I want to pick, or if I even need to pick any extra points. Let's see, we got negative 2x minus 1, and then the bottom we get negative x. Well, on the top and the bottom, I can take out a negative 1. If I take out a negative 1, that would be a positive 2x, and a positive 1, that would be a positive x. So then I would get, and then negative 1 divided by negative 1 is just positive 1. So I get 2x plus 1 over x. So I plugged in negative x, and this is what I got. So the question is that the same thing as this? No, it's not. Because that says plus, that says minus. They're not the same. Is this the exact opposite of this? And the answer to that question is no, it's not. In order for this to be the exact opposite, we would have to have a negative outside here in front of the fraction. Or the signs would both be different up here. This would be a negative 2x, that would be a positive 1. Then we would have opposites. So there is no symmetry here. So my guess is our line's going to go like this. But in order to be exact, let's pick a point on this side, on the left side of our vertical asymptote. So I'm going to pick a point. Let's just pick, is this an f? Yeah, it's an f of x function. Let's pick a negative 1. So if I pick a negative 1, what do I get? Let's plug in negative 1 to this dude. We have 2, negative 1, minus 1 over negative 1. And so I get negative 2 minus 1 divided by negative 1, negative 1. And then we have negative 3 divided by negative 1, and then we have 3. Okay, so we have negative 1, 3, which would be above the 2, so we have like a 3 right here, and negative 1 would be right here. Yep, that's about right. I mean, that point's a little high, but my curve doesn't hit it exactly. But anyways, the curve is good. Maybe I shouldn't have drawn it before I found the point, so I could hit that point since I found it. All right, and we got it curvy. That's done.